Hey. Flapping up.
Flapping up. DBSE. With Donald Trump in the background. I think it's a real low point in Wrestlemania history.
I do not. And it's not regarded as a low point.
So this begun the Undertaker's Wrestlemania streak, which had lasted until his match with Brock Lesnar. Hello!
I love you.
I love you too.
Hello and welcome back to the Gimme a Hull Wrestling. Hello and welcome back to the Gimme a Hull Your Wrestling podcast. We'll keep that bit in because that was beautiful, I'm sure, for you all to watch. Me wiggling my tongue at everybody. Hope you're doing okay.
Wiggling your tongue in everybody.
At everybody.
You said in everybody.
At everybody.
Watch out, YouTube. Thankfully, we don't have 3D vision.
3D vision. Oh dear.
Ooh.
Yes, welcome to the Gimme a Hull Your Wrestling podcast. My name is Dom.
And I'm Ant.
Dominant. Yes, we are here reviewing and speaking about
WrestleMania 7.
Yeah,
it's WrestleMania 7 today from Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena in California.
California knows how to party. California knows how to party.
Well, they didn't know how to party, actually. It was supposed to be in the Los Angeles arena, not in the sports arena. But partly due to the increased security WWF would have to pay for due to the nature of the storyline with Sergeant Slaughter, and due to poor ticket sales due to the storyline with Sergeant Slaughter.
The best / worst, definitely worst storyline, because it generated lots and lots of attention.
It was a lot of heat.
Generated lots of attention, but also it was all negative. So
the wrong sort of attention. The company had struggled to fill the 100,000 seat arena that they was going to, and actually the arena they moved to only sold 16,158. So can you imagine if they had that in a 100,000 seat venue? It would have been very empty.
Yes.
Very empty. Then the WWF kayfabe story was that it was due to bomb threats and all the threats from Sergeant Slaughter, which I'm sure was part of it as well. But it was just they had to increase security because America was at war at the time, you know?
I imagine some definitely happened.
They did. Well, a lot to Slaughter. After the Royal Rumble, his family were put in custody.
We were saying before. Yeah,
mental, man, mental,
crazy.
The pay-per-view has some real ups and downs throughout it. With a disappointing main event, I think we can both probably agree.
Yeah, it wasn't
but
great.
A really excellent match midway through the card with Macho and Warrior, which we'll get to, and an incredible moment with Elizabeth as well.
Also, even though it was kind of silly, the Blindfold match had its moments. You know, that was kind of silly, but I liked it a lot personally.
Okay, we'll talk about the Blindfold match.
We're going to have some differences of opinion.
We may have differences of opinion. If you want to follow us more, if you like the video, that helps us out great. And if you comment and subscribe, we'll increase the size of the channel and give you more content.
We're on Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff
and
as well.
Patreon's
our number one source of income. So if you guys want to support us, want to help us out, you can donate directly there. We'd really appreciate it because we really like doing this. And if you see any value in what we're doing, if you don't, then please comment to us and tell us to fuck off. But if you do see any value in it, then please do donate whatever you can give. And if you can't give any money, just give us some nice comments of support and love. Tell us who the better looking one is. Tell us which one you love the most, etc., etc.
So, starting off, singing "America the Beautiful," Willie Nelson.
Man, you know, that was a good shout.
It was rubbish, man. He came out, he looked like he couldn't be arsed. He was probably half stoned. He was probably half stoned.
It was kind of beneath Willie Nelson, to be fair, at this point.
Well, singing "America the Beautiful" is sort of a big deal, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very American pay-per-view, just as the last Royal Rumble was, because of what America was going through at the time.
And because of the gimmick, and I think that WWE was kind of... As much as they were using the gimmick to sell tickets, so it didn't really work very well this time. They were backtracking a lot. In order to balance out the heat they were going to generate in those main events with Slaughter.
Can you imagine if Slaughter won?
Oh man.
Oh right.
I just
thought it was very uninspired, no spectacle or anything. They did show some Images.
There's been a lot of that though,
images.
hasn't there? A lot of the guests that come and do it, like a lot of them, like one
Some
of them
of
didn't.
them are good.
One of them didn't show up, so you
Yeah,
had you know,
So well, the first one, so Gene Oakland. Sorry, the second WrestleMania, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a load of images, but these are more like, instead of it just being like kids playing in cornfields, as you know, like Superman as a child. Instead, they're going to sort of a lot of American Army images and stuff, and straight away after he finishes, the whole USA chant starts straight up. Yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it. So first up on commentary, we have Gorilla Monsoon and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. These were only on commentary for the first match. Duggan was replaced afterwards by Heenan. He was wearing a massively inspired USA outfit with a whole top hat with a flag and that. And
I think he brought that back out in later years as well.
Yeah, it was let's go really, really American. Oh, did he come in
over the top? Yeah.
In the WWE when he
when he came back,
cool.
Yeah. It was more again.
He was very much
some of these characters, man. You must think they've got to do it for the money. They come into work and like, right, you're going to wear an entirely American suit.
You want him to have sparklers.
Jim Duggan for his entire career was like credible at this point as a USA kind of standard bearer, but like in later career, people kind of laughed at him, and there's a lot of characters like that. They get laughed at, and you just think, and Santino Morella's another great example. His entire career, James Ellsworth, entire career,
James Ellsworth. We've just compared Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I am. In later career, I'm comparing like Hacksaw Jim Duggan in his 50s and 60s,
right? Okay.
When he was wrestling, in his 50s and 60s.
It just becomes a bit of a joke. Because Ellsworth was a joke.
It's not enough of a joke to not earn a decent wage. But what I'm saying is they've got to do it for the money. What a guy comes into work. He's like, right, you're gonna wear a US suit. So he's probably not. Jim Duggan's probably not thinking, this is what I want to do today.
Probably not.
But you got to, how many guys have got? There you go. How many people in this world don't like their jobs but do it for the money? Please tell us what you do. Tell us what you do and why you do it, please. That'd be a lovely thing in the comments.
So then we have an interview with the Rockers. They're not worried about Barbarian and Haku, even though they were part of the Heenan family at the time. So the reason Bobby the Brain Heenan wasn't on commentary at this point is because he was at ringside. So we have the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels versus Barbarian, Haku and Heenan, or with Heenan. Interesting lineup, I suppose. I was I love the dynamic. It wasn't a bad match.
I love the dynamic. I love the dynamic. And you got three of my favourite guys in there at this time, the Rockers and Haku. I thought it was one of the better matches on the card, to be honest.
It was a good match. I don't think it... I was expecting it... after seeing the Rumble match with the Rockers, which is outstanding, you sort of hope for it to be that level, and it doesn't reach that level, but it's still really good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing you've got to remember is that Rockers, at this point, they were not putting on bad matches.
No.
They were young, they were hungry.
They were
incapable of putting on, a terrible show. They had matches that weren't as good as other matches, but they were never bad. They were never bad at what they do. The Barbarian. Haku's another one. That consistently put on decent matches.
Yeah,
some
there
of
was
them
only the one with Harley Race. I didn't like so far.
Some of them were. But some of them were good. Yeah. Some of them were okay, and some of them were brilliant.
Agree with you.
He never put on a shit match.
So the Rockers come out wearing black and leopard print, like a green leopard print. Didn't really like that look.
Rockstar vibe, man. It's like a Steel Panther type of outfit.
I prefer the Rockers when they're like a little bit more colourful, to be honest with you, instead of just red and green and with leopard print. Haku and Shawn Michaels start in the ring. Two cracking wrestlers, beautifully timed leapfrogs at this moment. A lot of back and forth. Really nice wrestling in the ring. Jannetty comes in, obviously, and we start to see the Rockers' signature sort of double team constantly throughout a match, not just a finisher. The double team Haku, Barbarian comes in and destroys them both with a double clothesline again, which is great because it's going the other way and selling Barbarian as a monster, which is fine. Yeah, he was the monster to overcome during the match. Jannetty has some work here with the Barbarian, using his speed to stay away from his attacks. Really nice work. Haku did an electric chair drop with Shawn Michaels, and Barbarian give the extra leverage over the top rope. Really nice work. Loved double team, stuff like that. It was almost like the Rockers went into a match, and not only did they sort of bring out the best, they also worked with their opponents to bring out the best.
I thought that, like I said, in every match I've seen so far, the Rockers have brought the best out in their opponents, or as good as they could have done.
Yes,
and even the Barbarian looked good, strong here. Yeah,
exactly. And we can't say that much about the Barbarian.
No, we cannot.
A crossbody from Jannetty and Haku at the same time meets in midair. It did look a little clumsy. There's no way of jumping off your feet, two men, and just sort of connecting and falling. There's no way of that looking neat, is there? Really?
No. I mean, I've seen it done well. But
this one.
I mean, like I'm talking like 205 Live cruiserweights having a go at it. But these guys were, Michaels was quite light, Haku less so, but it was clumsy.
They tried something which was good. Haku started with his backbreaker. I've talked about this before. Haku's backbreaker was one of the best backbreakers. Yeah. It was I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think it was his was it his finisher for a little while?
I don't know. Was it the super kick that was his finisher? It was sort of between. I think his backbreaker was sort of his signature, if you like. But it was such a nice backbreaker, and the way that he holds him over his knee was really cool,
incredible,
man.
Incredible. I'd love to see a documentary on Haku in terms of, I mean, there must be maybe one out there, because obviously so much background in terms of family, so much background in terms of his inspiration to current stars.
Yeah,
brilliant. I'd love to see.
He was a great star, underrated star.
We included him.
We might have included him on a list that might or might not be out yet. A crossbody from Jannetty onto Barbarian is immediately reversed into a devastating power slam. Really nice stuff. And it wasn't even like he caught him and held him, as we see a lot. It was grabbed and he turned it straight away into a power slam, which it's not a show of strength, but in terms of skill, that was really impressive. I was impressed with Barbarian, and I very rarely say that.
Yeah, they didn't do a bad job.
Yeah, there was no waiting straight into it. So after a drop kick off the top rope to Haku from Jannetty and a high crossbody from Michaels, he gets a pin. A good match.
Yeah.
As we was constantly getting from the Rockers at this time. Given
the position on the card and given what happens for the rest of the pay-per-view, one of the better ones.
Do you know who else did a good job in this match? Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
He
was good on commentary, man. He was clear,
enthusiastic.
Audible. Yeah, it was good.
Enthusiastic and more audible than Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper would be at times.
Which is, it's odd that a guy like Hacksaw, as much as I ripping into him in later wrestling life, although I probably won't be wrestling when I'm 60, so respect Hacksaw. He was a good representative. I mean, right up until his last stint, he was doing tribute to the troops. He was flying around. He was doing the schedule.
Yeah.
So he was always a hard worker, a bit of a workhorse. So respect to him, and he deserves his legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we move into a bit of an interview segment. So the celebrities of WrestleMania here now. We actually had a lot of celebrities on this one.
Macaulay Culkin, bless him.
Macaulay Culkin, yeah. So Regis Phillips interview, he's been in the WWF a couple of times now calling stuff. He was also, he did get a lot of wrestlers on his talk show at the time as well, so it was sort of, I think he enjoyed wrestling. You could tell when he calls one of the matches later on. He actually knew what he was talking about generally. He says that he's had all the stars on the show, but there's one man he can't get close to, and that is The Undertaker, which we'll see play out a little bit later on. Mara Maples, backstage interviewer. Mean Gene, sounds like there's going to be a lot of cold showers, he says. She was very attractive. I think she was Was she the bird that did Family Fortunes?
The bird that did Family Fortunes. It was the lady that did Family Fortunes.
The lady
that did Family Fortunes.
I think it was, yeah. And then also an interview with Alex Trebek, who was a guest timekeeper, but it was pointless. Heenan was back on commentary now. Heenan was great as always. A good showing in this pay-per-view. So the next match is Dino Bravo with Jimmy Hart versus the Texas Tornado. So Dino attacks early on.
Dino Bravo, man. not
He's
a fan. I'm not a fan.
so lost, hasn't he?
He's very sloppy. Texas Tornado was one of his better showings, I thought, but I'm not a fan.
No,
of
his perfect match was way better.
Well, the perfect match was way better, but Texas Tornado did given what he was given in this pay-per-view, he did well with it. Dino Bravo is just really struggling at this point.
My problem is I didn't really see the point in the match. It's a bit like a lot of the WrestleManias.
There was no real build-up to this one either.
It's really interesting, actually. Going back and watching these pay-per-views, I'm not enjoying the WrestleManias as much as I'm enjoying the SummerSlams and the Survivor Series. It feels like they put a lot of pressure on themselves to put everyone into WrestleMania. And this match suffers for it, and there's several matches on the card that suffer for it, for just trying to cram it in for no reason. And it's the same happens these days as well. Absolutely,
the pre-show matches, stuff like that.
But even in the main, I like last year's WrestleMania. I didn't rate the Jericho Owens match for all the build-up it had. I thought it was incredible build-up, and I thought the match was pretty lame. There was one quick match in it that was good, and that was Brock and Goldberg, and that needed to be quick and needed to be good. The rest of the matches, I thought WrestleMania was a bit underwhelming in many respects. It's the same every year as well. When we review the pay-per-views, we are looking at the whole pay-per-views, but there tends to be one or two matches which are standout, which can lift a pay-per-view. If you look at WrestleMania 10, that's got two amazing matches, and the pay-per-view is a great pay-per-view because of them two amazing matches.
This is notable because of matches in the later card. I mean, again, your theory is correct, and there are some cracking matches on this bill, but there's a lot of stuff that brings it down as well.
Yeah. So Dino attacks early on. When Tornado gets the lead, Dino was sloppy in selling some of his moves. Really sloppy work. There was a nice side suplex at one point from Dino Bravo, and he nearly got the pin. Was it right to have... Do you know on Tornado's boots he had the tassels? Mm-hmm. Was that too similar to Ultimate Warrior?
I think he's had the tassels for a while.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit too similar to Warrior.
Well, there was a lot of crossover back in the day in terms of maybe the seamstresses were a little bit more frugal, but
it's interesting actually. A lot of these pay-per-views, you start to see Jimmy Hart's jackets becoming incredible, and I was thinking to myself, that's because Rick Rude's gone and they don't need to do his tights anymore.
That's it,
so they've got more time to do Jimmy Hart's, which was just a funny thought.
That's it.
So Texas Tornado gets his spinning tornado punch. Dino doesn't sell it very well.
He doesn't sell anything.
Man,
he's not a great. He's not a great seller. He's not. I'm just not a huge fan of his performance here, and I think his performances, as we have continued our progress, he has
faded into the background.
Big time. Absolutely. Yeah. Which is sad because he promised a lot.
He was a well-built guy, man. He was. So Warlord with a slick interview. He says it takes more than one dog to take Warlord down. Warlord sells his own full Nelson that no one can escape. We've seen this Warlord full Nelson in the past, haven't we?
Yeah.
I hate the full Nelson, man.
Yeah.
And then we have an interview with Davey Boy Smith. He can break the full Nelson, is what he says, although no one's done it. Winston is the dog. The Bulldog. It was Matilda. It was Winston at this pay-per-view. I don't know. Winston might have been Matilda's child.
See, I remember Matilda.
Yeah, Matilda. Yeah, because Matilda chased Heenan in all them pay-per-views ago, and when he was wearing that dog jacket, which was excellent.
Yeah.
This was Winston.
There you go, Winston.
Winston the Bulldog.
Which I suppose that kind of works. Churchill and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought Davey Boy, even though this match wasn't, it was a bit below Davey Boy's pedigree. I thought he it's one of the matches I remember. It was the first time I'd kind of really encountered Davey Boy, on a good solid singles run, and I thought he came across very well.
Yeah, he did come
again
across well.
Another instance of the bigger, heavier guy slowing the match down, but having an okay showing because of who he was in there in the ring with. I thought
he was such a talent. Davey Boy.
Davey Boy was able to sell. He was able to move, and he was able to look bigger. He was able to make bigger, stockier, more just lumbersome guys like the Warlord look all right.
Yeah, he had the strength
great
to do it as well.
Not great, but all right.
Yeah,
whereas Davey Boy always looked, even in his later career,
he looked boss, man.
He looked like a beast, and he'd still be. And I've no doubt he'd still be going now. If we hadn't lost him. Incredible.
So Winston the dog has talked to Davy Boy and tells him there's no bull in this Bulldog. Didn't realise Bulldog could talk to animals.
Well,
Is that a Dr. Dolittle gimmick?
it's like Aquaman talking to fish,
Is it?
or Dr. Dolittle. Yeah,
Eddie Murphy, brilliant. Not seen that in years.
I know. Yeah.
Anyway,
we should watch that.
we should watch
Spare
it.
time. Classic.
So Bulldog versus the Warlord with Slick, who does nothing. Bulldog runs to the ropes.
How does? I mean, I know that they had less talent, so of course they've got more budget for things. But how Slick wouldn't have had a job beyond a month in today's WWE?
No chance.
What? He must have had the easiest run of any manager we've seen in this period.
Well, he doesn't take a bump. He doesn't
take a bump. He doesn't really talk to anybody.
He doesn't interfere. He just sort of appears.
Stands there. Yeah, he just looks slick, and that's his thing,
Maybe that was the gimmick. So Bulldog runs the rope several times, not being able to knock down Warlord for the first 3, but eventually gets him down. Davy Boy Sniff, he was so nimble, man.
Oh man.
So nimble in this
incredible.
match and so strong. There was a great move where he sort of even receiving a move.
Yeah.
He got into that spot so nicely, looked so sharp and
Exceptional. Just
took it like
just
a boss.
Brilliant.
The two were quite well matched, and I thought that they did put on a good show for 2 power guys, because that's what we're getting. 2 power guys in the ring can lead to real rubbish, but no, they did all right.
That was nice.
Davy Boy goes for a pile driver, but Warlord reverses out of it, leading to Davy Boy nearly getting a roll-up win. Warlord locks on the full Nelson, so this is coming back into the story of Davy Boy escaping the full Nelson. I really hate the move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you find it boring, and they've used it. They've recycled that a couple of times through wrestling history, and most recently with Chris Masters. I think I mentioned this in previous podcasts. It doesn't look great when you've got a guy for about 2 minutes and all you're doing is ragging him around. And
it doesn't work because it's 2 power guys as well.
Yeah.
Like, I get it with a smaller guy that you can actually sort of lift off the ground and sort of throw around a bit. But Davy Boy breaks it, which is the obvious story that we was going to see anywhere. Bulldog gets his slam and pin to celebrate the win with Winston. Gets Winston into the ring to celebrate. Heenan was moaning about Davy Boy using tights, but in the replay, it wasn't even in a pin position where Davy Boy could have used tights. It just it was good. It was a good match, solid enough. Nothing spectacular. Nothing.
Meh.
So Davy Boy's feud would continue in every pay-per-view in 1991. We get these two, so we should keep an eye out for which ones, if there's any better.
It was
matches.
the first feud that I discovered David Boy in, like I say, as a singles competitor, and I remember some of the matches being okay, and I remember some of the matches not being that great, but it was to do with just, again, very slow performances from the Warlord.
Yeah, as opposed to
really, he didn't have the capabilities of Davy Boy, who could fly a little bit, and he could, he
for
could
a big
move.
guy, certainly could,
yeah.
So then we go on to an interview with the Nasty Boys and Jimmy Hart. The Hart's time is over. These guys had some class mullets.
Yes, they did.
They look like Eugene from The Walking Dead.
Yes, they had some wicked mullets. Now, me and you I guarantee we're going to differ on opinion on the Nasty Boys.
Why?
I'm a huge fan of them.
I like Nasty Boys,
and I'm a huge fan of their work in the ring.
Have you seen? They were stiff.
Yeah,
they were really stiff.
But I mean, obviously, it's not great in terms of a wrestling context, not harming people, etc., etc. But just 'cause they were mean.
The
way they moved, even though it looks stiff as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think if you watch, there was a Cactus Chat match. I think I mentioned it in the last.
Yeah, because you said he joined with them for a little while.
He joined with them for a little while, but there was a solos match between I think it was Knobs and Cactus Jack, and
we should find that.
It was on WCW, and it's awesome.
We should find that. Should we post it on the? We'll post it on the page if we remember to do it afterwards.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I like the Nasty Boys.
And a great
dynamic
too. A great dynamic between 2 very opposing teams, very opposing in terms of just styles and gimmicks. Just a really nice clash, I thought.
You on about the Hart Foundation? Yeah. I agree. I think the thing with the Nasty Boys is it was a bit of a throwback to the 80s in a way. I mean, we are entering the 90s now, and that sort of wasn't the thing. But they were sort of stuck in that sort of Warriors. Do you know the film Warriors? That sort of gimmicky thing, but I like that.
They were the Dudley Boys of this time. You know, they were that kind of, you know, they were built for just two rough, ready kind of biker-esque guys, and that's what America at that time and this time, people like, weirdly, people, they became kind of anti-hero-esque in later careers because they were just mean assholes, really, quite honestly.
They were good in the ring.
But American biker gimmicks go well with the casual American viewers because everyone likes a burly, beer-drinking, hard-hitting biker dude in America.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and not just in America, here as well. Yeah, we all have it. Look at the Undertaker in his badass gimmick.
True,
it was so over. At one point during this interview, they steal Mean Gene's hanky out of his pocket, blow the nose on it, and then put it back, which I thought was a really nice touch, man. That's how you put over a gimmick. And then we have a Hart interview. The Nasty Boys are at the bottom of the pile. They don't think the Nasty Boys are all that nasty. They think they're scum. Mm-hmm. That's what the Harts say. Oh, good old Harts.
There you go.
So then we have a tag team championship match. The Hart Foundation versus the Nasty Boys. A shot of a young boy in the crowd during Hart Foundation's entrance. Who was that?
Go on.
Macaulay Culkin.
There you go.
There he was. A young Macaulay Culkin getting lifted up and watching the wrestling.
Yep. It's a nice moment for that kind of thing where, like, I think those sorts of celebrity interjections are
fine.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it's not like it's not like, hey, look at me, look at me.
I don't think these did a bad job of it, actually. Yeah. They had a big segment later on where they sort of interview a couple of celebrities in quick succession, but it was more these people who come to the wrestling
to watch, and it's more believable, I think, with this set of celebrities that they might actually, have some interest in it.
100%.
Whereas, like, a lot of the celebrities we've seen...
even Donald Trump, who's there, he's been to several wrestlers. He enjoys wrestling,
A lot of the celebrities we've seen, you can tell when they're just like, what the...
when they don't have a clue, and you see it all the time. So... It starts off with Brett dominating both of the Nasty Boys, kept Brett looking strong, especially early on. Brian Knobb comes in and wants Neidhart. It looked like Neidhart was working really, really stiff.
He's another he was always very stiff,
but especially stiff. Like there was a bit in the corner turnbuckle, and I was like, he's actually just punching that guy.
There's an interview later in his career, or a segment later in his career rather, where DX on television rips into him for being stiff.
Oh really?
Yeah,
right,
when he's feuding with post Montreal Screwjob.
Right.
When Neidhart comes back to defend, the family
honor of the
Michaels and Triple H rip into him for being stiff. And
right. No, he was really stiff here. It was like they'd been working with the Nasty Boys for a while, and they were giving a little bit, and he'd give back just as much. Yeah. So no, it was good.
I would never want to mess back in that time, and also later on in his career, I would never want to mess with Neidhart. One of the in history considered one of the toughest people in the locker room as well.
In many respects, it must have toughened up Brett to be in this feud a lot.
Yeah.
You've got two guys who are stiff workers anyway, another guy who's kicking back. And Brett I don't think Brett was a stiff worker. Certainly didn't. He was a neat worker.
Yeah, and he had the same kind of. I think he had the same kind of ethics as Randy Orton has these days, where he was he worked smart.
Yeah.
He was trying not to get injured in the ring.
Yeah, or injure people. But it probably did him favours to get in the ring with these two and get a bit knocked up. Mm-hmm. Toughens you up, doesn't it? I don't know. The Nasty Boys start getting the advantage for a while, but it's mostly chin locks on Brett, building to the hot tag. Hart eventually gets out, and this was it. The Nasty Boys kept getting Brett in a reverse double chin lock. I don't know what. I get that they keep going back to it, but I wish I'd sort of done something a little bit different, because it felt like by the fifth time we've seen a reverse double chin lock,
it wasn't that exciting.
It gets boring, even if it is building up to the hot tag. Knobbs eventually goes to attack Hart with Jimmy Hart's megaphone, but hits Sags instead. Mm-hmm. Brett finally gets the tag. The Hart attack. Neidhart goes into the pin, but Sags breaks it up with Jimmy's megaphone when he's getting pinned. That then leads to Neidhart getting pinned. So the tag team champions gone, man.
Yep.
Nasty Boys.
Yep.
Didn't have a very long run, did they?
Nope.
But I thought the match was a nice build up towards the end, but it could have been a lot better. We've seen the Hearts do a lot better stuff. Especially if they'd stopped going to that reverse double chin lock move. It was just
it was
overused.
It was tedious.
It was
tedious.
After this match, the Hart Foundation split, leading to Bret Hart's singles career. Although Neidhart was in the company for a long time afterwards and has made many returns, this was Neidhart's last WrestleMania match.
Yep.
Doesn't appear in the ring for a WrestleMania match by himself. It was also Marty Jannetty's last WrestleMania match, this one as well.
There you go. Sad times, you know, like I say, you see...
Well, you think there's so much to come up with Jannetty, especially 100%. With the breakup of the... Yeah. There was one WrestleMania where I believe he was supposed to have a match with Shawn Michaels and that something happened. Didn't he get arrested or something?
Yeah, there was a run-in with the law.
I think so.
Jannetty's downward spiral was a long one. Still going, unfortunately.
Hopefully he's on the way back up.
And Neidhart's health as well is currently not that great, but he's getting better, I think, steadily with the help of his daughter and family. Obviously, you know, his legacy is still felt and still very positive.
And the daughter's
Natalia,
husband, he loves Neidhart, doesn't he?
Natalia.
TJ like goes to interviews with Neidhart and stuff. Like he proper loves old wrestling. It's really cool to hear, actually.
Yeah, it's a shame because TJ or Tyson Kidd, as he's known, and in WWE, you know, like I say, one of the best technical wrestlers we've seen in the last decade of WWE, but with a neck injury as a result of the Muscle Buster from Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Why do you call him Samoa Joe?
It's something my girlfriend does, and she just said, "Oh, look, it's Samoa Joe," and I was just like, "Oh yeah, it's Samoa Joe."
Okay.
Samoa Joe.
Okay. Well, shout out to Sarah, who no doubt will probably watch this. Probably not. Maybe not. I don't know.
That wrestling thing again. Oh, that's what my girlfriend sounds like an angry pirate.
An angry pirate.
Yeah. In 1991, Neidhart would create the new foundation, and that was with Owen Hart. So we still see him in tag teams later on. A video package of Martel blinding Jake the Snake, including Jake interfering in a match with Jake and Tito, costing Tito the match as he couldn't see. The Blindfold match. Jake Roberts and Rick Martel, Dom.
I loved it.
No,
I loved all this. All these. Honestly, like all this was great, you know, and the ducking and the pointing and the crowd going, yeah, no, and it was beautiful. It was. How else were they going to do it? Tell me how they could have done that better.
First of all, they could have not done it at all. Would have been better, for one. Second of all, as an audience member watching it back on TV, someone pointing at someone and the crowd going, way, and then walking that way and then missing them 25 odd freaking times is not entertaining to me. I'm not going way on the sofa.
I liked it. I liked it. I thought they did the best with it. You know, it wasn't the best idea for a match.
It was a crap idea, man.
But they did the best with what they had.
Yeah, look, right.
Well, they did.
Jake was a talented wrestler. He was a very talented wrestler.
Martel was also very talented.
Martel was so talented.
They were wasted. This was a wasted.
Hot. There was both hot. He come off that Royal Rumble where he looked $1 million, Martel.
Yeah.
And then they put bags over their heads and have them walk out there and point. And the crowd go, hey.
I thought it was really well done. Crowd interaction. There's never been crowd interaction like that.
Let us know what you think. There's
never been crowd interaction like that.
No, there hasn't been crowd interaction, but that doesn't make it good. You know, the crowd throwing a beach ball around the crowd, they probably get cheers from that, but that doesn't make it good.
I remember watching that and being like, yeah, on the like shouting at the TV when the crowd went, yeah, I loved it. It was great. And then the DDT.
Did you think that Jake could hear you?
I thought Jake, the powers of the snake, man.
Jake was so good. Can you imagine if these two just put on a proper match?
Well, remember that they've talked about it in advance. They'll have known what was happening. Look, if I cover your eyes right now, you know where I am.
Yes, but I'm not happy. And if people start cheering, I'm not.
You can hear me. You can see me. You know where I'm going. We could do a podcast blind. We could do one. We could make it work. It'd be all right.
All right. Right. Let's. I'll run into the rundown of the match. My rundown. You can give it praise. Both were given blindfolds, which clearly had eye holes in them. Cheats. wrestling cheaters. Defend them. Go on, defend.
How else was
Defend!
How else are they going to do it?
Well, don't do it. No?
Carry
Okay. Jake had point and the crowd would cheer based on if he was going the right way. Martel falls over a prone Jake and gets himself into a roll-up from Jake. Are you still enjoying this, man?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm enjoying your commentary.
So the commentary is all about Jake using his senses, but it's not a wrestling match.
Yes, because
the crowd are into it because they had an influence on it. Yes, but I don't want to do it at a frigging house show. Don't do it at WrestleMania.
Well, you're just saying we don't want their comments. We want your comments. We like you, and it's the same. We want crowd participation. We want audience participation.
I don't want to walk down the street and people point at me and cheer.
Why? Yeah, you do.
No,
yeah, you
I
do.
don't.
Really,
no,
you
I
do.
Don't. No, I don't. Yeah, it's weird, man. Right, the two have a couple of moments where they meet up, and something tends to end up with Martel looking the weaker man. What a waste of a great wrestler right here.
Right,
if WWE did this these days, right, they'd completely hijack the match. Can you imagine? Like, they wouldn't even be cheering when there was pointing. They'd just be booing. They'd be intentionally, like, sending them into
but
a pit
you couldn't get away with that. You couldn't get away with it these days.
Right, Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor in a blindfold match.
I could see that actually working all right.
No, we can't. Right, AJ Styles and Kevin Owens.
No.
Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, blindfold match.
Maybe.
I think I want to be blindfolded.
I could see that.
I
could see that work, and I could see Wyatt and Balor work. I could not see anything.
No,
Styles.
No.
It's about being an in-ring psychologist, and both of those athletes, Martel and the Snake, Jake the Snake, were great in-ring psychologists, and that's why in this context it works, and that's why I could maybe consider perhaps Bray Wyatt and Balor doing it all right. Stop shaking your head.
To be honest,
give me an argument.
Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor have not had very good matches without a blindfold.
Not the best, no. Not the best.
There's my argument.
Fine, carry on.
Yeah, I think I'll need a blindfold when Roman Reigns is beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, well, he's got the Intercontinental title now because it's Grand Slam time for Roman Reigns.
Jake.
I just find the fact it's great that people love him all of a sudden because of the Shield back. They're going to keep the Shield till Mania now.
Of course, yeah.
Anyway.
We've got to. Jake ends up getting Martel in a DDT for the win, which sort of comes out of nowhere. Well, at least we've seen a DDT.
Yeah.
Could have seen a real match in a DDT. Like that big event match, Jake and Steamboat was great, man. Let's have that. These two are capable of that.
Yeah.
I don't want this. This isn't entertaining to me. I think it's a real low point in WrestleMania history.
I do not, and it is not. It's not regarded as a low point, and it is celebrated by many as a good point for this point in wrestling history, and you are wrong. So shut the fuck up and let's move on.
Jake steals the arrogance at the end of the match and breaks it before flopping his snake on top of Martel's head.
Beautiful.
That was the high point. Mandy Marples, was it?
Maples.
Yeah. The bird.
Anthony.
What?
Well, not everybody who isn't from Holland going to understand what bird means.
Bird it's a type of animal that flies, but it's also what Hull folk refer to as beautiful ladies.
Not all. No, we do not refer to beautiful ladies as birds.
Why? What do we?
Primitive people refer to beautiful ladies as birds. We refer to beautiful ladies as beautiful ladies. Hello to all the one beautiful ladies. Watching.
All the one beautiful ladies?
There's probably only one.
But there might be more than one. And now, if you get two, how are they going to decide who's like the best looking?
I hope so.
Now you're actually making people feel like conscious on our podcasts and like.
Well, everyone's beautiful to us. That's what we're trying to say.
You're all beautiful birds.
You're all beautiful to us. You're all beautiful to us, and thank you for watching. If you're watching, we appreciate you, and thank you.
The next match is The Undertaker with Paul Bearer, finally.
Yeah.
Paul Bearer's first pay-per-view versus Gimme the Superfly Snooker. So
Yeah.
we have a wrestle at the start of the street, man.
Yeah, the coming out party for Undertaker.
Party.
Yeah, man.
Weird match, but I understand why.
And, it's sad for Jimmy Snooker, you know. I mean, obviously, you know...
He was on his way out.
Coked off his tits. But
yeah, I mean,
what a legend! And I suppose, the start of the streak. You know, what a way to start. Undertaker.
It's a bit of a squash match, but that's okay because I think Undertaker sort of needed that
at this point. Yeah, at this point.
So a little bit about Paul Bearer because this is his first pay-per-view.
Sure, have we not done Paul Bearer?
No, this is his first pay-per-view.
Wow!
It was before this. It was all Brother Love.
Bring it. Let's go.
Cool. Hadn't you done it? You were supposed to do it.
I'm supposed to do Paul Bearer. I'm supposed to do Sid Vicious.
That's in the next pay-per-view.
I know the next one.
Paul Bearer in this one.
Paul Bearer in this one?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, cool. Undertaker's manager. There you
go. Paul Bearer had entered the wrestling business as a photographer in the early 80s before joining the Air Force. On his return, he went back to wrestling, this time as a manager. And then when his son was born, he decided to take a little step back from wrestling and studied to be... Sorry, go on.
So his son wasn't Kane or The Undertaker, right?
His son wasn't Kane or The Undertaker, no.
What?
His son wasn't born in fire and brimstone.
There you go.
But he did study mortuary science as a way to pay the bills at the time, earning certificates as an embalmer and mortician. So the whole Paul Bearer gimmick was actually what he was qualified to do in real life. And he actually owned a funeral home as well, in real life.
Nice.
Did you know that?
I did not.
That's why you watch this podcast, for interesting facts. In 1984, he'd returned to managing after coming back from the Air Force in WCW and served as a manager for Matt Calloway, but also ravishing Rick Rude. And a young up-and-comer, because this was in Texas, stunning Steve Austin.
He's everywhere, man.
I know, man.
Everywhere.
Steve Austin.
He was a work. He worked his knackers off.
Give me a whole yeah, Don.
Did Stone Cold?
Give me a whole yeah.
Oh yeah. So I still get really excited when we do that.
Rick Rude was the one who introduced him to Vince McMahon. And after it was decided he'd join the company, it was Animal from Legion of Doom who gave him the name, which is obviously is it a pall bearer? Is that what you call it?
It's a ball bearer.
A pall bearer.
Ball bearer.
No, it's Pall.
I'm sure. It's a. Oh no, Paul Bearer. I'm sure it is.
Paul Bearer is the name.
Let me say.
I think it's Pal Bearer.
I don't think it is.
It's a mortician term, isn't it?
Let's see how it's pronounced. Paul Bearer's
Pall.
I don't think it's pronounced. Let me see how it's pronounced.
Let me carry on reading.
Yeah. Let me.
So at this time, during the WWF, he had his own talk show segment, as most of the wrestlers did, and this talk show was called The Funeral Parlour.
Hang on, let me see if it'll let me.
Paul Bearer.
That is Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer.
Paul.
Paul Bearer.
Paul.
Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer.
Cool. Paul Bearer. So
Paul Bearer.
We're both
cool.
wrong.
Yeah, we're both wrong. But it was a clever play on words, and I didn't know that it was Animal from Legion of Doom that came up with that
there you
at
go.
all. So at this time he had a show called The Funeral Parlour, which had some great moments in it, didn't it? With I think he locked the Ultimate Warrior in one of the coffins at one point, and
he was around for a while until he get burnt alive by Kane last time. I thought frozen to death.
He was frozen to death. Paul Bearer was eventually frozen to death. Yeah.
He was burnt alive a couple of times.
He was put in a cement container and buried by the
Undertaker. And
in a really weird moment, which was there's a rehearsal of it online. Have you seen the rehearsal?
No, I've never seen the rehearsal.
Yeah, so Undertaker rehearsed the segment beforehand, and there's a video of him rehearsing the whole I'm gonna go over here and kill this guy, and yeah, it's really weird, man. Wow. Check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, he was an iconic character, wasn't he? And an incredible manager to give to The Undertaker. And it was Paul Bearer that added to The Undertaker's mystique.
The urn, which is the urn is gone now. But, it was such a big part of...
and it played a massive part in storyline.
Massive gimmick, because people could control The Undertaker through this urn that Paul Bearer, owned, had.
Yeah, it was great, and it was a perfect pairing of the two.
Oh, yeah.
Later on in life, he'd suffer with health problems due to his weight and depression. I think when he came back in 2010... No, maybe earlier. Part of the reason that he did it was because he needed money for a gastric band bypass. Because obviously he was a bigger guy. Yeah. He lost a lot of weight at that point, and that's when you sort of see skinnier Paul Bearer. coming to the WWF.
Let me check when he came back.
Yes, and he owned his own funeral business. So
2010, you are correct.
2010, thank you. So, yeah, when the gong goes at the start of this match, straight away the crowd cheer. It's a sort of sedate cheer. It's interesting seeing the reaction to Undertaker. I'm really fascinated by how he was sort of introduced. Because he goes into a feud with the Hulk Hogan, who was sort of the face of the company later on this year. We get a couple of shots of kids at this point, and they all look terrified, man. Yeah. And that was the mystique of the Undertaker, because we both saw the Undertaker, didn't we? In Hull at the Hull Ice Arena.
We did, yeah.
And it was like, he's a.
He actually, there's a story. An acquaintance of mine went drinking with the Undertaker in Hull.
Oh right, yeah. I've got another story of him dancing on the. There's in a club which used to be called LA's, there used to be like podiums where the bouncers would always like kick people off if they started dancing on him, and he was pissed up and started dancing on them, and the bouncers wouldn't go near him. Yeah, did you know that?
I did not.
I'll tell you that. It's a good
That's
little
amazing.
Story. I'm sure there's many stories on
Wow.
it. WWF, the only time that they've ever been to Hull was that time that we saw him. Let us know if you went to that event, man. That'd be interesting.
Hull Ice Arena, man. Crazy.
Yeah, man, Hull Ice Arena. So when Snooker and Undertaker get in the ring, they have a stare down, of course. Undertaker dominates Snooker in the corners of the ring with punches and gut kicks. Superfly runs to the rope, trying to use his speed to get the advantage of the Undertaker, but Undertaker just does a high elbow to take him out, a bit like a phenomenal forearm, man.
Yeah.
He looked great. A big suplex to Snooker to get Snooker in from the ring.
I remember that
apron.
suplex, man. I remember it.
Some great, great on Snooker's part to keep so straight and for Undertaker. And when he falls back, Snooker ends up at the other side of the ring, and that sort of playing off the sides and everything.
Massive.
Great, man. Snooker gets a bit of offense, but Undertaker no sells it all.
And that was okay with the Undertaker at this time, I thought.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree. I hate no selling.
Yeah, no. I can't stand no selling anybody. And it's a horrible thing to do as a wrestler. You've got to learn to sell. You've got to learn to fall, as they say. But
well, most of our favourite wrestlers are good sellers.
Yeah, incredible. You know, Dolph Ziggler. But it's okay when the Undertaker no sells.
Yes, I think so.
It's odd that they didn't carry on doing that. You know, in his.
I think it would have got boring if it had carried on. You've got to mix it up. And the nice thing about Undertaker is he was that dynamic that he had ups and downs and changes within his character, unlike.
Actually, no. Can you really say that with Hollywood Hulk Hogan?
Yeah,
WWE. In WWE.
Yeah, but you're talking about one run with Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
There was a couple. We had one.
But since then, what's changed?
Well, it's just,
and also
Hogan, Mr. America.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Mr. America.
Okay, and how was that different to Hulk Hogan?
Wait, well, that was what Vince McMahon argued. That was the whole point, because he got fired and then came back as Mr. America.
Mr. America, yeah. Anyway. So no selling of the Undertaker. Snooker gets caught after getting back into the ring, but Undertaker can't get him into a tombstone at that angle. So it was sort of that catch. Matt Calloway looked like he was struggling to actually get him into the tombstone position. So we actually see a call there from Matt, go down.
Yeah.
Goes down, he punches him, and then he picks him up into the tombstone with the motion that he was probably more used to at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a squash match, and it's not the best match. It's certainly not the best of the streak.
It was a good, like I said, good coming out party.
I tell you what, it's better than some of his other matches. I promise you that. Even though it's sort of not in the top 10.
There was some terrible ones. But
especially around this time.
But you could expect. You know who the guys are going to bring out the best in the Undertaker, and they do.
Oh, I don't know. But I don't know. CM Punk, I would have thought I'd have.
Oh man, that was a great match.
Yeah, that was all right. Bray Wyatt.
Agreed.
Yeah. So this begun the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, which had lasted until his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. Next up, we get a video package of Macho and the Ultimate Warrior, including the Sherry on her knees at WrestleMania and the interference during his title match with Slaughter. Bobby Heenan at this point spots Elizabeth in the crowd. And then we're going to talk about the retirement match between the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man Randy Savage.
Classic.
With Queen Sherry.
Classic.
So Macho Man comes down and he looks awesome. He's wearing that blue and white outfit that we've seen so many times.
I've been eating a really nice flapjack. Sorry for that.
That's all right.
Anyway, carry on.
Looks amazing in his white and blue outfit. What do you think of that outfit? It's like iconic Macho Man. Looks incredible. And a great sort of precursor to him becoming face as well by the end of the match as well.
Yes, indeed.
He looks incredible, and this match is really good. He enters on a throne with Sherry. Warrior doesn't do his normal run-in. This was interesting, I thought. The commentators were putting over that he had to save his energy against the Macho Man. And Warrior had a jacket as well that had been made for him, probably by the same lady who made Rick Rude's pants.
Yep.
Lots of time on her hands now.
It was great.
It was with him and Macho Man plastered all over it. Both go to play to the crowd on the turnbuckle, with Warrior getting the face reaction and Macho getting the heel reaction at this point, which was great. Macho really sells the Warrior and tries to find a way to get an advantage from the start. It was Warrior dominating, Macho doing his runaway thing. There was a really nice atomic drop for the Warrior. I thought Warrior did a really good job in this match, considering, and it's sort of an iconic match. Actually, as well.
Massively. You know, the finish, everything about it, just is incredible. And I feel like Warrior. It's probably the best Warrior match I've ever seen.
I agree. I think this is better than the WrestleMania 6 match.
Yeah,
with Hogan.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone talks about that.
We're not. Me and you aren't great Hogan fans,
but everyone talks about
everyone
that match
does
as the
but as a
iconic
spectacle,
best.
as a spectacle, and as something to watch, and as something we could go back now and watch and be like on the edge of our seats, like that was my on the edge of our seats look.
Good look.
It's great.
Yeah. This is awesome.
One of the defining
Warrior
and
matches.
I'm surprised at its place in the card as well.
Yes, I was actually. It's very much the mid card, but actually they give it enough time to breathe. So, and it's an incredible. It is a main event match. So Warrior throws Savage into Sherry, knocking her out the ring. Savage goes off the top rope for a crossbody, landing perfectly in Warrior's arms. Absolutely beautiful. Great work from Warrior. Warrior puts him down and slaps him as an insult, as opposed to doing a big finishing move, which was great. Sherry attacks the Warrior as he's thrown outside the ring, and Macho takes a big drop off the top rope to hit the Warrior. Macho Man, he's constantly using Sherry as a distraction. I thought it might have happened one too many times during this match. That would be my only criticism of the match.
Yeah,
just a little bit too much.
But I think that was Sherry's. You know, Sherry was always very comfortable with that, and I think that she was used quite a lot in that.
Yeah.
In that
capacity
for him.
Good word. That's because I said it. Ultimate Warrior did a big splash in the ring with Macho Man nowhere near. I thought that was a bit of a weak moment, I suppose, as well in the match, where Warrior just sort of does his splash, but nowhere near Macho. Yep. I love it when wrestlers do that. Yeah. Macho was bringing out the best in the Warrior all the way through. The ref is knocked out. Sherry jumps off the top rope with a shoe, but misses and hits Macho. A classic moment in wrestling history. Warrior nearly catches her as he's going out. We keep going to shots of Elizabeth, who's sat in the crowd. So she's
getting really.
She did a great job of selling it. The emotion behind it. Elizabeth was fantastic for wrestling. So we keep going. We keep going to the thread. After a slam, putting down Warrior, we see the iconic elbow. We see it 5 times in a row, man. That elbow drop, and each one is stunning.
Yeah, man. that whole kind of just an incredible set of moments.
It is,
and you know, even the cheesy as hell, you know, hulking up the Warrior does. In that context, I was okay with it. Macho's, those elbows was incredible, and his look, man, like the acting, the performance,
especially from
Savage,
amazing, shock,
incredible.
I mean, Macho was legitimately wanting to retire at this point, and he was happy to put the guy over. I mean, Ultimate Warrior's run in the WWF doesn't last much longer. Which is a damn shame that Macho sort of give that to Warrior in many respects, but to to give 5 elbow drops and for Warrior to kick out made Warrior look like a beast.
Yeah, and
man.
I don't think there's any greater compliment or any greater rub you can give.
Than delivering your finisher 5
and I've never
times,
seen it
yeah.
since.
Not
I've never
5
seen
times.
it since.
No.
Like I've never seen not the elbow, but I've never seen that finish.
Well, it's like
Repeated. I've never seen. It's not like the
we've
Undertaker's hit.
seen 2 or 3, but never like 5. Like think of AAs and stuff. Cena's done it a couple of times and stuff like that. But I mean, that's what this sort of Macho Man's finisher was a finisher. Finishers were protected in this era. When you got a finisher, it was generally the end of the match. The Perfect Plex is a great example of it. It was very rare that people would kick out the Perfect Plex until a pay-per-view big moment. For this to happen then, I mean, it weakens the elbow. He didn't need it anymore because he was looking at retiring. He did need it because he went back to the ring not long afterwards. But nowadays, it's like somebody getting...
I mean, it is the defining elbow drop, isn't it? It's the best. Still celebrated, although I believe either Velveteen Dreams or now Kairi Sane's elbow is just picture perfect. Did you just go, Kairi Sane is in Kairi Sane or Kairi Sane's elbow?
Kairi Sane's elbow.
Yeah, I mean, that... just exceptional.
It is the way she gets the legs in there. It's phenomenal.
Anyway, but it is in terms of that era, and still to this day, I think it's celebrated as the best elbow drop.
But I mean, that's how big a moment this is. It's like having somebody kick out of 5 F5s from Brock Lesnar, or F9, sorry, or
F9,
F5. What am I on about? Or someone kicking out of 5 Shield power bombs. It's massive, and it was massive, and it's a cracking moment. He can't believe it. He sells it so well. I mean, Warrior hooks up. We get a few clothesline, a big press slam, the ultimate splash. And then Macho Man kicks out of the ultimate splash. So again, we've got these guys, and it builds up the match so much.
And that wasn't done. That wasn't done at that point. That wasn't done very
not like
often.
it is now.
I mean, now I love it when it happens. I love it when it happens now. To be honest, I think it's really, it's really well done. If they do it in the right.
It's overused, man.
If they're in the
It's
right.
overused. Look at like Styles and Lesnar. Like it's elbow drop. I mean, Lesnar, you don't kick out of it.
Well, Lesnar kicks out of everything though.
Good example.
But like. This era, it was never done, and it was really good.
Yes, yeah. Warrior seeks help from the heavens. Warrior actually starts to go walking out. He's like talking to his hands, like he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know if someone's finally kicked out of his splash. Is that should he leave it? Should he leave the match? Starts to walk out, but gets caught on the apron by Savage. Savage goes off the top rope to axe-handle Warrior, who's hanging over the barrier, but he moves out the way, leading Savage to eat the steel. Eat the steel. After several clothesline and shoulder tackles with enough power to knock Randy out the ring, he gets the pin on Macho with 1 foot standing over him. Ultimate Warrior looks so dominant at that moment.
Massive.
And
huge.
What an amazing moment for Warrior that must have been, to have someone like Macho put him over like that. That was massive. All the time, Elizabeth looks sad during this celebration. Sherry gets in the ring shouting at Savage, angry that he's lost. Starts kicking him in the ring. The camera keeps going back to Elizabeth, who jumps the barrier. Security should have stopped her. She was only paying ticket. And she throws Sherry out the ring. The crowd go mental.
That was a beautiful moment then.
She goes to help Savage up, but he still thinks it's Sherry, so he goes to thump her. We don't hit girls, we thump them.
No,
realises that Elizabeth and doesn't know what's going on. Elizabeth was crying. She was doing such a good job of selling this man. Great work.
It was a heart-wrenching moment.
Savage was playing to the crowd that he didn't know what to do. The crowd were all getting behind him. The two eventually embrace in the ring, and then pomp and circumstance erupts, and there's members of the audience in tears, man.
I mean,
it's a great moment.
I loved it. I think I probably cried a little bit, but I mean, I didn't know at the time that they were already married. You see.
Oh, you cried, you big softy. No, me and my partner was watching it the other night, and she was interested in it, and that's sort of when entertainment and wrestling becomes like this really great mix of a great storyline and great emotion in the ring, and everyone did a great job with that.
It was really nice.
Yeah, loads of people are crying as she's hoisted onto his shoulder, which became quite an iconic look.
Yeah,
from
one
Macho
of
and
the
Elizabeth.
greatest moments in wrestling history. Absolutely, without question.
I mean, it's sad that it was in the context of a retirement match, and then it became a false retirement match because he was back in the ring not long after.
And also, like I said, that there was actually a lot of backstage tension between the two. So, they definitely had to put on their game faces, their professional faces for that, because they weren't actually getting on at that point.
No. Savage was very jealous, wasn't he?
And Elizabeth wanted to escape that.
Excellent match, excellent wrestling moment, cracking,
and makes this card,
it's really easy the best match.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a bit of a break here as we have an interview with Heenan on his reaction to the Elizabeth segment. Heenan states that he'd rather have money than a skirt, which I thought was a great line from Heenan. Would you rather have money or a skirt?
What, you mean to wear, or you mean like a lady?
I don't know.
Heenan meant a lady.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
I didn't realise. Of course I realised, man. What would you prefer, money or a girlfriend?
I would prefer a girlfriend.
Oh, so romantic. Yes. I want both. Interview with Regis Phillips, interviewing The Undertaker and Paul Bearer. They say nothing, just measuring him up for a coffin. I thought that was a great moment. Yeah. Great, Regis Phillips just looks awkward in it, as they're not saying anything and just measuring him up with. What did he do with his hands, Paul Bearer?
Oh, he's like, he did this kind of, super villainous kind of.
Yeah, cracking, man. Great to see Paul Bearer in these pay-per-views
and
now.
And he does his little kind of...
Oh, yes!
Yeah, and he purses his lips and kind of nods.
Brilliant. Interview with Smash and Crush with Jeopardy's host, I can't remember his name. It was more about him and less about Demolition. Completely underselling Demolition. Yeah. Both of them, when they get a chance to speak, sell the manager, Mr. Fuji, more than themselves. You can tell that things are not looking up for Demolition at this point. Back to Regis with Tenryu and Katao, who have nothing to say. He says random Japanese brand names, like I think he says Toyota, and they go, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I once did an interview like that.
Did you?
For Soundsphere magazine, yeah.
Who was?
I probably shouldn't say.
Okay.
But Crossfaith.
Crossfaith?
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Max does the interview,
Crossfaith were a metal band.
Yeah, great band, but you can see, like, Soundsphere magazine YouTube, interview with Crossfaith at Leeds Festival, like, a couple of years ago. And you can see how awkward Max is doing the interview, and we'll maybe put that on the page too for everyone to laugh at.
So Katao has a SWS jacket in, which I'll go into. That's a Super World of Sports jacket. So these were actually WWF wrestlers. And then there's an interview with Jake. Damien wants to appear on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I much prefer Jake as a heel, man.
Yeah.
So the next match is Geniko Tenryu and Koji Katao. I think that's
close
Katao.
enough.
Katao. Close. I'm probably
Katao and Tenryu.
butchering it, man.
Katao and Tenryu.
Versus Demolition, which was Crush and Smash at this point. I don't know, man.
Generico.
No, that's not right, is it?
Just say. I would say Tenryu and Katao.
Tenryu and Katao were on loan from the Japanese promotion Super World of Sports. WWF co-promoted a lot of their shows in Japan with this group, and it was a way of them getting exposure for the Japanese show in Japan, so that's why they was on the card. So a little bit of history, because these guys are actually quite interesting. Geniko Tenryu actually started out as a sumo wrestler, although neither of them looked like sumo wrestlers. Both of them were former sumo wrestlers. He left in 1976, where he was trained by Dory Funk and Terry Funk to become a wrestler. And he had success in Japan wrestling, as well as spending time in, as well as the time he spent in America. He was also in the NWA and was put in the 6-man tag team championship belt with the Road Warriors when they were heel. In the WWF, he'd also appear in the 93 and 94 Rumbles, and he had a lot of success in Japan after he'd left the WWF, including an excellent, I went back and watched this, an excellent retirement match against Okada in 2015.
Wow.
And it's only recently, and it's a cracking match, man.
Okada's the guy that's quite well known in
New Japan
Western
Pro
culture for his matches with in
Kenny
America,
Omega.
for his matches with Kenny Omega.
Put on a retirement match in 2015, and I think the reason I went and watched the match is because it was one of the Japanese wrestling sport's best match of the year, and it is outstanding, especially for an older bloke. He does amazing. But they do in Japan, don't they? They don't age like they do in...
They're just
incredible,
incredible performers, man. Tajiri can still go like
absolutely.
clappers. Like he came
Agreed.
back for the Cruiserweight Classic, and he was amazing.
It was mint.
Yeah.
It was great in the Attitude Era as well. So Kojoi Kitao was an interesting wrestler as well. Again, he was originally a sumo wrestler who became a wrestler after his sumo career, and he was ranked Yokozuna, which is the highest rank that you can attain during sumo wrestling. But his run as a sumo wrestler and as Yokozuna was actually quite tainted in a way, because he never actually won a championship during his time as Yokozuna, which is very rare. Yokozuna is sort of the class that's right up there. He did a little training in the AWA before joining New Japan Pro Wrestling in 1990 and then Super Worlds of Sports, a Japanese promotion working with WWF. He had his debut match for New Japan against Bam Bam Bigelow. Wonderful. Bam Bam Bigelow was in New Japan at this time at the Tokyo Dome, so big deal. Now this is a really interesting bit. During a show soon after WrestleMania, I think it was like this was was this March the 24th, and this next thing happened April the 3rd, so not very long after. He'd have a match against another former sumo wrestler who was in the WWF at the time, which was Earthquake. Kitao wouldn't sell Earthquake's moves. He refused to sell his moves, and they started shoot fighting in the ring. And after a DQ from the ref, because I think he kicks the ref at one point, he grabbed the mic, telling the audience that wrestling was fake and that Earthquake could never really beat him in real life. This led to him being fired from Super World of Sports.
I remember. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Right, cool, man. No, that's just a really interesting story. I thought. They don't have a massive part to play. He doesn't have a massive part to play in WWF, but that was just interesting to me. So Demolition comes on. Man, they didn't get the old music. It was like some weird mix.
Yeah.
I mean, after Axe left, you couldn't really use the music.
We
did it.
We came up with, what was it? I can't remember now.
Here comes the axe and crushing the smash. Yeah, we saw it. There, I mean, the music was like as bad as Psycho Sid's sort of music.
I love that. Meow, 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 meow.
No, random bits. I'm not a fan.
Loved it.
We see shots of the audience of Japanese fans who obviously knew who the two were. The two were the big in Japan for the sumo background. Kitao starts off against Crush. Fuji interferes with his cane early on. The crowd were dead, and I think Trump had left the front row. Donald Trump just wasn't interested. Demolition dominate in boring fashion at the start of the match. A really weak-looking power bomb gets Tenryu and Kitao the win, I think it was. Yeah. I didn't even put whether it was a win or not. They did win, didn't they? Did win, yeah. Rubbish match. Waste of time. Yeah. It was all about them putting over the promotion in Japan, which I respect. And it was Demolition's last televised match, which is sad.
It is.
And then we get Repo Man later on, and Crush goes on a singles career in a yellow and purple singlet. It wasn't great.
And then Disciples of Apocalypse.
Did you check out that?
Wait, the Repo. Wait. Oh yeah.
Smash was a Repo Man.
Oh man, the Repo Man.
Yeah, the burglar. Yeah. Did you check out that link to Wrestling Riffs I sent you?
Yes, I did.
It was very good. They've just done a Demolition, which I requested.
Really?
They've just released a Demolition theme song, and I thought I'd bring it up because this is the last time it's on there. Go and check out that channel, guys. It's really good fun. I had a proper laugh with it yesterday. Check it out. Wrestling Riffs on YouTube. Go support them. W-R-A... No, R-A-S.
Is it?
Yeah, you check. While I carry on. Cool. Check it out, guys. Good fun. An interview with a boss man is next. Perfect and Heenan have hurt boss man's family's feelings, and he's going to pay tonight as a perfect example for that crime.
That's great.
The crime does not pay.
You're an incredible heel.
Thanks, man. Heenan and Perfect interview. I'm an incredible heel. Bossman was a freaking face, man.
You're an incredible heel.
Thanks, mate. Heenan and Perfect interview. Heenan insults the LAPD in LA. Perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect will not be left on his back because he's as cool as a cat. That was a good line. He has all the tools all the tools it takes to be champion.
Yeah.
So we have the Intercontinental Championship match between Big Boss Man and Mr. Perfect. I think Big Boss Man could have been a good Intercontinental Champion at this point. Do you not?
I do not.
Why?
Later in his career, he wins the hardcore title, and then he could have been a great Intercontinental Champion because he had a better gimmick and he was more fully formed as the Big Boss.
I don't know, but
at this point, I'm not sure. He was kind of weak.
But you only had like two massive faces in the company at the time. I suppose Macho, like Ultimate Warrior and Savage.
Well, that's what you think.
Yeah.
That's what you think,
Okay.
and I appreciate
you're
that.
wrong.
Well,
And don't forget, they also then they push Bret Hart into becoming
Yes.
a face as well. Like I think Boss Man would have been good. You disagree. You're wrong.
until later in his career, I think when he came back, he could have done it. And I think, like I say, he won the hardcore title and the tag team championships. But yeah.
Cool.
Would have
And
been-
then got hung in the ring by the Undertaker.
Yes, he did.
Died in the ring.
He didn't die in the ring.
Didn't he?
No.
So how do you survive a hanging?
That wasn't actually a thing.
How did he survive a
Are you
hanging?
kidding me? Did you think he actually died during that hanging?
Oh, didn't he?
No.
Of course I knew he didn't bloody die. Jesus, why would the show, like, the WWF killing someone? Part of the Sergeant Slaughter thing, they actually just beheaded people. Beheaded Hulk Hogan. No. Lord Alfred Hage joins on commentary at this point. Did nothing on commentary. Hated Lord Alfred Hage on commentary.
I ain't got no time for that.
No time. Perfect throws the towel at Bossman from the start. Bossman wipes his backside with the towel and throws it back at Perfect.
Yeah.
Great start to the match, I thought. Bossman shows great speed at the start of the match. Bossman was capable of having some great speed. Baseball sliding out the ring and getting back in really quickly. The type of thing you'd see from... Baron Corbin does it well. Baron Corbin, Randy Orton does that sort of thing well.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn does that sort of thing well.
You're complimenting Randy Orton.
Yes, that's the only time that'll ever happen.
Never happens.
Perfect sells the Bossman great, making him look like a beast. Bossman takes off his belt and starts attacking Perfect. That should have been a DQ, Dominic, but he's a face, so we don't DQ a face.
Not in the 80s and not in the 90s.
Perfect ends up with it and wraps it around his fist for the advantage, and then gets told off by the referee. Perfect has Bossman in a nice abdominal stretch at one point. That was a way better submission than the full Nelson. Like, do you know where they sort of got it?
Yeah.
Like it looks like awkward.
I've always liked the abdominal stretch.
Better than the full Nelson, in my opinion. A lot of head takedowns from Perfect. What was that move that do you know whether your opponent sat down and you run over the head and jump over it and it like stuns them?
You mean the hair puller, they call it?
Is it? Is that
Yeah,
what
where they
call it?
run from behind them.
And jump over.
It's called the hair puller.
All right, the hair puller. That's a really soft name for such a brutal looking move.
Yeah, I think so.
The hair puller. Well, he pulled his hair very well.
I'm pretty sure it's the hair puller, but...
Bossman is thrown into the steel steps by Perfect. We don't see the steel steps used as much as I remember during this time. I wrote this note down and then noticed that every match had steel step spots in it, but oh well.
Yeah, no, at this time...
We haven't seen a lot of it.
At this time, we hadn't... You're right, until this point.
And now they start overusing it, especially in the next pay-per-view. Heenan starts attacking Bossman whilst he's down. Andre the Giant enters, chases Heenan in his very slow way, grabs the belt, sort of lingering around the ring. Andre hits Perfect with the belt. Bossman covers Perfect, but Perfect kicks out. Phew. Hacker and Warlord interfere. Andre and Bossman defeat the heels. Bossman wins by DQ, so there's no title change in this match. I thought the match was a little overshadowed, actually, by the return of Andre.
Yeah.
I don't think it was needed. I don't think it brought anything to the match, and perhaps if Bossman had won, it would have been more effective, even if Andre had come down.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I think. Next up, we have a Mean Gene interview, and he interviews Donald Trump, Chuck Norris, who sells the athleticism as wrestlers. So if you've got a TV star like that that's known for being athletic, and he
Love
sells
Chuck Norris.
wrestlers.
Came back late. He came back later on as well. He had another kind of run in WWE. He was a guest referee for a while.
Right, great. When was that?
Later on, when Bret Hart and around the time of Bret Hart, Bob Backlund, and all that kind of wrestling.
Okay.
96.
Yeah, I think I do remember, actually. I think it does remember.
96, something like that.
Is it Henry Winkler? Was he from Happy Days or something?
Yeah,
He was,
Henry Winkler's in there, yeah.
He was happy that the Ultimate Warrior got his ultimate win. The Real Hulk. Who's the Real Hulk, Dom? Lou Ferrigno?
Lou Ferrigno.
Ferrigno, thank you. He also gets interviewed. Yeah, he was happy to be there. And then Bobby Heenan gets back to commentary. Next match is a quick match: Greg Valentine versus Earthquake.
What's Greg Valentine doing as a face?
No idea.
Like,
he didn't.
like-
He wasn't a face.
Like,
he shouldn't have been a face.
he had a couple of face matches, like next pay-per-view as well. He's he's the face guy.
Weird.
He's not the
Weird.
face guy. He's a terrible face.
He's a terrible face.
He's about as good a face as. Well,
He's not the
you
best
know, he's
heel,
just a terrible.
but
Yeah,
he's not a good face.
He's a terrible face.
Greg, I think it was all about Jimmy Hart because he'd split up with Honky Tonk Man, and so whoever Jimmy Hart was,
Rhythm
with, he was
and
feuding.
Blues or whatever.
Why he was feuding with Earthquake at this pay per view, I have no idea.
The next one's the same though. It's like
It
what,
is,
what,
and I agree. Greg gets way too much offensive on Earthquake, way too much, even knocking him down with an axe handle from the top rope. Earthquake, coming from a string of intense matches with Hogan, is now stuck in a feud with Hammer and, rubbish.
Not great.
Eventually, Earthquake gets the teabag on Valentine because of the distraction from Hart.
The Earthquake splash.
The
Slam.
teabag. Everyone in the match looks weak. Everyone.
Yep, not great. Not
Rubbish.
Great. Worst match on the card.
Rubbish. We next have a Legion of Doom interview. They should have had the title shot against the Hearts, but Power and Glory interfered. So they were instead facing Power and Glory. Glory. After they're done with Power and Glory, they're going... I said it again, Jesus. Power and Glory. They're going after the Nasty Boys, is what they
and
said.
That does happen.
Legion of Doom versus Power of Glory squash match.
Yeah.
Basically,
Not a fan of obviously I'm a fan of I have been in the past a fan of Hercules, but Paul,
no, it's just rubbish.
Paul Roma could have been better.
We've got great talent in here. I understand a squash match when it's needed. This sort of match didn't need to be a squash match. The crossbody from Roma is counted into a power slam. Legion of Doom get the Doomsday device, and it's all over. That's it.
Yeah.
Bit of a waste of time.
Yep.
Yeah. Next up, we have a video package of Virgil and DiBiase feud. Now, this was an interesting feud, wasn't it?
Let's go, Virgil.
DiBiase.
What was your chant?
DiBiase.
Let's go, Virgil.
DiBiase. Doesn't really work. There's too many.
No, well, my pick wins anyway. So, spoiler.
Yeah. Oh, spoiler. So we see Virgil struggling with taking orders from DiBiase. This is in the video package, including massaging his toes. Would you massage my toes, Dom?
Depends what for.
Everybody's got a price, Dom.
I do care about you, so I would. But
How much to massage my toes?
I might do it for free.
Really?
Depends what you needed it for. If there were sore toes, and you really needed me to massage them, then I'd probably do it for you because I'm your friend and I love you.
Thanks, dude. That's kind.
Well, that's the truth.
Maybe the next prediction punishment, you'll have to suck my toes.
Suck your toes? You said rub.
I know, but I just thought of it.
I have sucked some toes, so...
Dude. We see Piper helping Virgil to get the win on Haku at one point. So Piper's interjected himself into the feud. So the match is Virgil with Roddy Piper versus Ted DiBiase.
For the $1 Million Championship?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Not this one.
I thought it was.
No, I think the next one is SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at
SummerSlam.
something.
Roddy Piper comes down with a crutch after an apparent motorcycle accident. He calls out for Virgil. Virgil! Is what he says. Virgil.
Okay.
Then says it again. DiBiase. With Donald Trump in the background. Now there's an image. That's a feud that I should have seen. Forget Virgil. Moved on to Donald Trump and DiBiase feud, man.
That would have been wonderful.
Yeah, I've got... What would the feud be about? Pretend money versus real money.
Yeah. Or just dickheads versus dickheads.
Why DiBiase want a dickhead?
DiBiase was a dickhead.
Why was it?
But DiBiase was playing a dickhead.
But DiBiase was amazing.
Whereas Donald Trump's an actual dickhead.
Well, that is your opinion, Dom.
That is my opinion.
If birds can't be called birds, then dickheads can't be called dickheads.
What are you on about?
Keep politically correct, Dom.
What? Carry on.
Virgil is too quick
So
for
full of
DiBiase.
shit.
So full of shit. Virgil is too quick for DiBiase. Definitely a very tightly planned out match. Virgil wasn't very good in the ring at all, especially at this point. He got better in the SummerSlam match.
Yeah, he got better.
This match, no. A very tightly planned match in terms of spot, with Virgil ducking from DiBiase's punches. DiBiase was selling really hard for Virgil, even though it's only really punches and clotheslines were the actual moves that he was doing. He did get better in the SummerSlam match, as I've said. At the moment, though, he did need Roddy Piper out there, I think. DiBiase is getting frustrated that Virgil is too quick for him. Not great ring action here, very small spots, but DiBiase does a pile driver and a suplex to Virgil. It's all very by the numbers. It's all very tight.
Standard stuff, yeah.
It's nice, sir.
I remember watching it. I think because
it's a story.
The reason
that's
I
interesting.
I remember always thinking about the SummerSlam match. I remember always thinking about that one. That's the one you always think about. So when I thought about just now, it draws you in, that one, because
it's a story.
You believe in Virgil, whereas now you're like with Virgil could easily lose this. It could be a squash match.
Yes.
And I thought at the time this was going down. I was like, you know what? It's just, Virgil's just not he's not going to win this. He's not going to do a good job.
No.
And, it's nice to, it's nice to see him in there. It's nice to see him get the win, but he doesn't entertain people until SummerSlam.
So DiBiase ends up attacking Hot Rod. The crowd get into it a little bit more than I'd say. Pushes him over. Obviously, he's on crutches. He's only got one leg. Roddy is supposed to pull down the top rope with his crutch at one point for DiBiase to go over after Virgil Osiris ripped him into the ropes. But he's too late, meaning DiBiase just goes over the rope for no reason. You see Roddy trying to hook his crutch on the thing afterwards as DiBiase's going over. Love stuff like that. And that leads to a count out. DiBiase puts the $1 million dream on Virgil, which Piper breaks up with a big hit to DiBiase with his crutch. Then Sensational Sherry comes out to help DiBiase. So Sensational Sherry is obviously upset with Macho Man, not going to be with him anymore, and goes and helps $1 Million Man. Good pairing, them two, actually.
Yes.
Good storylines later
well,
on. She was good with everyone, wasn't she? She was great with Shawn Michaels.
I had a lot of time for Sherry.
Got a lot. She was good. They continue to attack Hot Rod's knees, Sherry and DiBiase. Hot Rod's rolling around the ring, way overselling anything, swinging around his crutch. At one point, he throws his crutch.
I'm honestly not entirely sure what. I mean, Roddy Piper had some great pay-per-view moments.
It was so over the top.
And I mean, he had some really good stuff, but then sometimes you're just like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
He was rolling around the ring for whatever reason, swinging his crutch, and the referee's coming to just, calm down, man, it's all right. He throws his crutch at the referee, and it hits him in the crotch. Crutch in the crotch, that move is called.
Crutch in the crotch.
Crutch in the crotch. Virgil tells Hot Rod to get up. Weird part of the story, so it's all about Hot Rod overcoming his being able to stand.
Yeah.
What? I mean, the thing is, it's not to do with Hot Rod, really. I mean, I get that he's behind Virgil, but it's supposed to be about Virgil and DiBiase at this point.
Yeah.
Not the best match. It was a memorable story, though, and it built up to SummerSlam, and the SummerSlam matches, I enjoy the SummerSlam match to an extent. So next up we have... the feud would continue through SummerSlam, and it'd end on this Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view, which we will cover on the channel. That's in a couple of... it's not a very well-known pay-per-view, but there's a lot of big stuff that happens in it, actually. A video package for Slaughter and Hulk. So Sergeant Slaughter sets fire to Hulk flag at one point. Saves him burning an American flag. They're not allowed to do that. The Pukemaniacs. I did love Sergeant Slaughter's use of language.
I remember that just his voice is really gruffly, it definitely had a character.
Yeah. He's the new ruler of the WWF, and we're playing by my rules. We'll see a video of Slaughter attacking Hogan with a chair. He talks about getting himself disqualified or counted out during the match tonight, which would mean he'd still be champion. Less references to the Gulf now, insulting the troops. I think they've been told off.
They've overdone that one for sure.
A nothing match, the Mountie with Jimmy Hart versus Tito Santana. Was the Mountie in the last pay-per-view, or was this the first one we're covering of him?
No, the Mountie was in the last one.
He was in the last one.
We covered it, we weren't impressed.
I don't mind the Mountie.
He ripped off the boss. He ripped off the boss.
It's a
man
really
slam.
good match at SummerSlam, the next one that we do.
Do you remember he ripped off the Bossman Slam? If you rip off... Bossman Slam is one of my favourite finishers.
Yeah, but there's a great match between Bossman and Mountie. Sorry, go on.
I'm ripping into his ripping off of the Bossman.
Continue.
I wasn't impressed with that. Were you impressed with this first match?
What, with this match?
No, the first match.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
But I was impressed with the next match with
It was
Bossman.
with Coco Beware.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I mean, Coco Beware.
Hey, flapping up.
Flapping up. Tito gets the early lead on the Mountie, even bashing Hart and Mountie's head together. Mountie gets the pin. Tito continues his losing streak at WrestleMania.
Dolph Ziggler of this time.
After
Incredible
hitting him
performer,
with the
complete
cattle
waste.
prod. Yeah, waste of time, man. We didn't need this match whatsoever.
Yeah.
An interview with Hulk Hogan. He is going to be the new WWF champion. Sergeant Slaughter doesn't know the secret weapons Hogan has.
Hogan's got the 24-inch pythons.
24-inch pythons.
What's your secret weapon, Anthony?
24-inch python.
That's not what Sarah tells me.
It's a lie. Hulk was destroyed by Slaughter a week prior to WrestleMania, when he locked him in the camel clutch, refusing to let him go. Good video, actually.
You know what? As much as I'm not a fan of Slaughter's athletic ability, the camel clutch looked ferocious.
Yeah, and I mean, having the Sheik on his side at this point, or later on, not in this match, but later on, I mean, the camel clutch was a great move, and it was devastating.
Yeah.
At this time.
Although
So
Rusev makes it look good these days.
The three celebrities enter the ring. I mean, when we talk about celebrities in WrestleMania, we've currently had like Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper, Muhammad Ali, and we've got a Jeopardy host, Regis, who's
Macaulay Culkin's all right, but yeah,
Macaulay Culkin didn't do out there, does he? Like, he's only
Lou
there to
Ferrigno-
enjoy
Lou
the
Ferrigno
wrestling.
and Chuck Norris.
But again, they're just there to enjoy the wrestling.
Yeah.
You can't really,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who would have been a good celebrity to have at WrestleMania? That's a good question.
At this time,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Who would you guys have had?
Yeah.
Tell us
Interesting
who
question.
Tell us who you
Have a
guys
think
would
about
have
that. Let me know after the match.
Yeah, what about
Give me an
you?
answer. Me? 90s. Early 90s. Macaulay Culkin is a good one.
had. The dude from Baywatch.
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, David Hasselhoff.
That's a good call, man.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Oh,
Have him as a what does it call them that look after beach? Lifeguards.
Yeah, or a special enforcer.
Especially in Force. No, the lifeguard to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
they can both come in like with them boys at the
yeah, man.
That'd be great, dude.
Did that happen? I wonder if that happened
I
sometime.
think Hogan was on Baywatch.
Yeah.
He was in an episode of Baywatch.
Yeah.
Makes sense. WWF World Heavyweight Championship match. Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter with General Adnan. I paused it at this point. It's a 25-minute match, and I went, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch this match for these two at it for 25 minutes. It's a poor match.
Yeah, it's not great. We'll fast forward it for you.
Yeah. I've got loads of writing on it.
No incredible great spots though. Yeah, but not 25 minutes worth of writing. So
No,
okay.
let's go. Hulkamania will live forever sign written on old printer paper. This is good. Do you remember the old printers that you used to have? And they used to have holes at the side so the paper could feed through. Well, it was like Hulkamania will live forever was written on that, but they hadn't taken off the reeds that had come through. And I was like, oh man, nostalgia.
Cool.
Nostalgia,
Nice.
man. See, you love my writing. This is journalism.
It's what we're all about
This
here.
is what excited me during the Hogan match.
Cool.
Yeah, obviously no support for Slaughter at this point. His best buddy Saddam Hussein hasn't took the time out of his schedule to come and watch.
Yeah, and also just to clarify, they weren't actually best buddies. It was storyline. Thankfully,
No, he's not. He sent him boots. He sent him wrestling boots, Saddam Hussein.
Oh dear.
Wrestling is real.
Wrestling.
Wrestling. Yeah. So it's a shoulder tackles and clothesline match.
Yeah.
Slaughter uses a steel chair on Hogan whilst he's going after Adnan. Hogan completely no-sells the chair. Slaughter uses a right to the eyes to turn this slow-moving car crash into his favour. You like my wording of that.
It was nice. Slow-moving car crash. It was good.
Nothing's really happening in the match. Really slow. No relevant back and forth. Just Hogan slowly doing moves to Slaughter. The crowd are enjoying it.
Yeah.
Counting each 10-punch combo, which happened in every position you can imagine.
Yep.
On the floor, on the turnbuckle. Yep. Slam to Slaughter isn't met with the normal finesse of a Hogan Slam, or even the build-up of a Hogan Slam. Slaughter slams Hulk off the top rope and a slow-motion clothesline to send Hulk Hogan over the top rope without any momentum. That's what I thought of this match.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice moment.
So Slaughter uses chairs and camera cables outside the ring. They could have done something more about him trying to get disqualified in this match.
Yeah,
I think that could have been a better story.
I'm thinking they could. Yeah, they should have made a bigger deal out of that.
Yeah, I think so. They could have made it more interesting.
Definitely a heel move. Yeah. Definitely solid heel move.
Every time Slaughter would do a wrestling move, after he'd finished, you'd see him like almost lean back slightly, like from exhaustion.
Yeah,
it was bad, man. Really sloppy Boston Crab.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember watching the Boston Crab, thinking there's a guy that does this a lot better on this roster right now.
Well, exactly.
And Rick Martel was doing the Boston Crab. At this point,
he was, yeah, and he was doing it really well. And the problem is, it's done like next to the ropes. Like, they hadn't even found a good position. So Hogan just had to go like that. And I get it's wrestling, and I get that. But even Regis Phillips, who was doing the commentary, said something about, why can't Hogan reach the ropes? Surely he can reach the ropes in that position. Yeah. And so it just looks daft, man, you know? Yeah. Adnan distracts the ref when Hogan is being pinned by Slaughter. Let me read that sentence out again. Adnan distracts the ref when Hogan is being pinned by Slaughter.
Odd.
Odd.
Very odd.
Very odd. After a chair to the head, Hogan gets some deep colour, really deep red blood. Boston Crab in the centre of the ring.
Deep red
Hogan
blood.
Yeah, the Boston Crab in the centre of the ring, showing off Hogan's crimson mask. Slaughter covers up Hulk with the Iraqi flag and tries to pin Hogan.
It does stick in your mind that I remember that match. And it does stick.
The
image of Hogan's face and the flag.
No, it does. I agree.
It's a lasting image in wrestling history.
And good for them.
Lasting image in wrestling history, even though it's a terrible match.
Yeah. So then we get the Hulk up. You see, I prefer like the WrestleMania 2 match against like King Kong Bundy. You know, I mean that's.
Yeah.
So we get the Hulk up, a few clotheslines, a drop kicks. No. Hogan never leaves 2 feet off the floor, unless he's doing a leg drop, which is just sitting down. Giving Hogan the win. It was a poor main event, man. The colour gave it a little bit of drama and made the images a little more iconic, I suppose. But Slaughter was way too slow at this point. His early 80s, he could have put on a good match against Hogan. Yeah. At this point, I'm sorry.
It wasn't.
Did you know who was going to be playing the Iraqi sympathiser role before Vince McMahon got Slaughter on board?
Go on.
Tugboat.
He was everywhere.
I know, man.
Tugboat was
Shockmaster.
The Shockmaster.
The Shockmaster, the Iraqi sympathiser. He goes into Saddam Hussein's house with his stormtrooper glitter ball. There is actually an interesting segment afterwards. So as Hulk got backstage, he was being interviewed. This isn't on the pay-per-view. This happened after the pay-per-view and continue with Slaughter's Slaughter up to SummerSlam with Slaughter and Hogan going at it again. Slaughter attacked Hogan with some fire paper. It was even fire paper. It might have not been. It was quite a big fireball.
Yeah.
It was like a proper Ayukin from Street Fighter. Oh, Ayukin! And then you see Hogan on the floor, like going, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! "Oh my god!" And he just says, "Oh my god," over and over again. It's really quite good, funny. It made me laugh. So that'd go on. They'd continue having these matches at house shows and at TV events called Desert Storm matches, which were basically a no DQ match.
Kind of, yes, yeah.
Hogan would win everything,
of course.
Yeah, and then you'd also have matches against the Iron Sheik, who was returning just after this.
And they were
back
much.
as Colonel Mustafa.
They were much better, I thought. The Sheik was able to bring out. He was a much better performer, I thought.
The Sheik, what, than he was previously?
Yeah.
The Sheik was great in the past. Like, if you watch his 83 stuff, it was good.
Oh, yeah, no, Sheik was, yeah, I mean, Sheik
and
was
like his early stuff with Hulk.
Oh, yeah,
good.
Incredible.
So, roundup of the pay-per-view. Sorry it's been a long one. It's WrestleMania. Poor main event. Really inconsistent WrestleMania. A lot of ups and downs.
The best matches were lower in the card. Rockers pulled one out. They were incredible.
Macho Warrior.
Macho Warrior. The rest of them, I obviously argued for the Blindfold match, but that.
Are you going to give that your best match over the Macho
Warrior? No. The rest of them though weren't that great. So I'm going to give this to two gay stars.
I give it 3 gay stars because...
Oh, wow, I'm being harsh in the last
I know
couple.
you have been, I know. I think that Macho match is excellent. I think the Rockers match is excellent.
That's a star in its own. The Macho match was a...
I think that's like 2 stars. It's brilliant.
Well, but yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think there are other elements that are okay on the pay-per-view. No, I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. I've gone down.
All right, 2.
But the problem is it was let down by the main event, and it was let down by silly matches
you've got over-reliance on...
Greg and Earthquake, man.
Yeah, you've got over-reliance on certain stars, and you've got... You didn't need to fill... now you need to fill all this time. So you have segments...
Oh, no, you don't. You just cut down 6 hours.
Well, yeah. But like here, there wasn't necessarily that need, and they seem to have put matches in there as filler.
Yes.
Filler matches. And so the Mountie and Tito Santana, which was...
Just get rid of it.
Which was the under match, the undercard to the main event.
Yeah.
What was that doing in there?
Well, they do it as a way of breaking up
people.
So I get that, but I mean, you could cut out about 7 matches from this card.
Yeah.
You could cut out Tito, you could cut out Earthquake, and then it'd make the Legion of Doom match work because it's actually a short match that is a squash match.
Yeah.
When you see in loads of squash match rubbish,
just subpar performers as well. You're in WrestleMania season and you're in there and you've got all these celebrities and stuff, and you're watching the Mountie and Tito Santana, and you're watching these kind of these mid card to lower card performers. It just kind of it's a little bit. I know it was a little bit underwhelming. Just the whole experience was very underwhelming, and obviously, your research was exceptional, and you've done a great job in making it exciting. Hopefully, we've made it exciting for you guys to listen to us. But certainly one of the more underwhelming and slow pay-per-views that we've seen during our history.
I agree completely. If you've enjoyed it, please give us a like. Comment down below what your opinions are or memories are of WrestleMania 7, 6, 7. Or any of the pay-per-views that are coming up. Let us know what your thoughts are. Especially on that Macho match.
Definitely.
Go back and watch it.
We only exist for your feedback. We exist for your interaction. We exist for you giving us your time and energy, even if it's just half a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you can give us in terms of your watch time. We really appreciate it. Do tell us what you'd like us to see us improve, because we do this for you guys, and also it's a passion project for us too. But we want to entertain you guys. We want to do something cool for you. So hopefully you dig it. Don't forget you can get Gimme a Whole Year mugs and Gimme a Whole Year t-shirts from Patreon if you fancy supporting us that way.
Also Redbubble.
Redbubble, and also just don't forget to drop us a like on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Interact with us on all of those platforms, and we will see you again soon. Keep it gay.